Welcome to Behind the Bar. Paul Sam brought to you by William Hill, the proud sponsor of the World Darts Championship. Michael van Gerwen has done it again. He's claimed his third World Grand Prix title, his 21st of the year. And I'm happy to say I've been joined by Rod Harrington. Rod, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thanks, Paul. Yeah, had a busy weekend at Daniella's wedding. The wife and I went up there from Dublin, and then we had a day yesterday. We stayed up there for a day and went round Chatsworth House.
Oh, beautiful.
So getting a few brownie points with the wife before I have to go away again.
You say going away again, it's tough, isn't it, when you're a man in demand as much as you are. So great wedding. So Daniella, so I would imagine there's one or two darts people there, and she's very popular, Daniella, isn't she? She's lovely.
Yeah, she was. I mean, Eric was there. Sammy was there, but James was not too well. But it was actually a smallish wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a lovely hotel up near Chesterfield. So we made a chance, because we always wanted to go to Chatsworth House anyway. So it was silly not to do that while we're already up there. We do tend, I suppose, this age coming on, we do tend to go to a lot of old historic houses, and it's nice to learn the history of this country. I mean, how barbaric we were, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And say lots of history at that part of the country. It's lovely, isn't it? So, talking of history, Michael van Gerwen, he's making a lot of that at the moment. 21st event, I believe, tournament of the year, Rod. Just 21 events. I mean, every time I speak to you, we mention this name, but it is ridiculous, isn't it, how dominant he is?
Well, it's the way he's winning things, Paul. I mean, you know, when they got to the final, and, you know, I'd done my William Hill blog, I couldn't split them, him and Gary Anderson. I thought, you know, Anderson's playing well, come into the tournament, put a lot of extra practice in. I've not seen Gary do that before. I've not spoke to him and heard him be so aggressive in how I want to win this, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I really couldn't split them. But them first three sets of Michael's were incredible. Yeah. I mean, at 2 legs all in the third set, you think if Gary can get this, then he's got a chance of getting back. But Michael just didn't miss that double top going in. No. Of course, Gary, I think, missed 6 darts in that. Well, that was history. As soon as you missed 3 darts against Michael at the moment, that was history. Yeah. But fair play to Gary, you know, he did try and come back. And then what a finish, 160 checkout. I mean, it's just, I spoke to Eric, and, you know, obviously Eric's very knowledgeable, and he said, I didn't think that anyone could ever beat Taylor. He says, but I think Van Gerwen will beat Taylor for what he wins. Yeah. Perhaps not World Championships, but certainly overall tournaments. Yeah. He reckons that Van Gerwen will beat Phil, and I can't go against that either. No,
I mean, I was speaking to the great Richard Ashdown, actually. He said to pass on his regards to yourself, and he said that, you know, he saw that, we all saw it with Michael when he was 17, and then obviously he went off, but so he had this at 17. So would anyone be as dominant as he was at 17 on, you know, around the youth sort of area? And he has just gone down and just exploded, hasn't he? It's been ridiculous.
Well, that's right, Paul. I mean, and you can never explain why it happens, but when he moved over to the PDC, he couldn't win an argument. You know, he did the odd tournament where he did well. I think he won a tour event, perhaps in Newport or something like that. But I've seen him actually in tears, you know, as a young kid, because he's so frustrated. And, you know, fair play to the people around him, especially Van der Voort, who stuck with him and says, come on, you know, do this and do that. And he had a few other good friends, and he stuck in there. And then we started up the youth tour, and he learned how to win on the youth tour, and you know, he just got that extra confidence. And the last, I think it is, not much more than 5 years, maybe maximum 6, he's just grown from strength to strength. Yeah. And you know, he's so upbeat about himself. We talk about, you know, confidence in your own ability. Well, it doesn't get any better than Michael van Gerwen's at the moment. No. And he is going to take some stopping. Yeah. You know, and I tell you what, Paul, I mean, the guy plays every single tournament, doesn't play too many exhibitions. Now, is it a coincidence that he wins all the tournaments because he keeps his edge? You know, he's got first team practice, we'd say, not reserve team practice. Yeah. So he's keeping that edge, and he's keeping that going all the time, where others are having breaks. Oh, I'm not going to play in this tournament, I'm not going to play, I'm going to do a few exhibitions. Well, I know Michael van Gerwen's a bit younger than some of them, but others, he's not that much younger. No. But he keeps his edge, and I'm a big one for match practice, guys. That's what you've got to do if you want to keep up there, and he's proven it.
Yeah, he certainly is. And you mentioned like the youth tour. I mean, of course, this weekend we see events 17, 18 and 19, and then the qualification then for the World Youth Championships started in 2011. We looked at Michael, he got to the final. He lost, I think, Aaron Monk and James Hubbard in the first couple of years.
Did.
Now, we look at that, no disrespect to Aaron Monk and James Hubbard. I was with James a couple of weeks ago. Great player. But it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Since then, 2011, 2012, and they're saying this, Max Hopp, of course, he's reigning and defending champion. So that's great for the youth players, isn't it? Happening this weekend in Wigan.
Oh, it's a big one. It really is. And like you say, then you got the World Championships, and that's being played down in Minehead now. Yeah. It used to be played. Michael lost in front of the Premier League crowds.
Yeah.
It is massive for a young man with his career. These youth tournaments, we started off the youth, they're now development tour, because I wanted to push them up to under 23, because we're going to lose about 12 to 15 players, and especially continental players, the Europeans. And I didn't want to do that, and I got slagged off by the people. They don't say anything for years. Then when things are going well, they all want to have a say. Yeah. Well, they don't get a say, Paul. And I'll say that they don't get a say. I'm afraid. Yeah. We put it together. I pass it through Barry Hearn and Matt Porter, and they work on the same wavelength as me with what and how the game should go. And that's why the game is where it is. I certainly wouldn't get involved in the financial side of things, because, well, there's nothing I can teach Barry Hearn about money, or even Matt Porter come to that. But my knowledge is in where the game should go. And I do want to, and I will be proposing this, that we bring out another youth tour, but under 18s. And I'd like to see Steve Brown run that through his academies. Yeah. I'm going to sort that out, put that together with a few people to see what they think. It's not a done thing. No. But I think that's just the next step from the academies into an under 18, then into the development, then the challenge, and then we got the pros. And I think if we do have that, in my opinion, we got the perfect system. Very
much so. And when you look, actually, I think two of the players from the 64 competing for the two finals places, say in Butlins. Jim Mostyn, who won the European Championship a couple of weeks ago, and of course, no other than John Brown, one of Steve's young lads there. So that's going to be great. And really, what a way to kick on if you're a youth player and saying, watching Max win that last year against Nathan, I believe, in the final, in the last leg shootout in front of 5,500 people, I believe it was, in Butlins. That's a great experience for anyone, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is. And, there's an old saying, you can't buy experience, you can only earn it. And if you start earning it from an early age, it stands you in good stead to when you hopefully get to the professionals. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of players, and you mentioned two of them early on, Aaron Monk and James Hubbard, that I had high hopes for. But I'm afraid they didn't act like professionals. They thought they'd made it, and great players, both of them. Would never take that away. But, you've got to conduct yourself as a professional nowadays. Otherwise, there's so many people that are good. Yeah. And the pros are finding this out. You take your eye off the ball, all of a sudden you slip down the rankings, and before you know it, you're outside the top 16, and then you're playing the top seeds all the time. You're getting battered, which makes it worse, so you go down, then you miss your first TV event, and then all of a sudden it's a downhill slide big time. Yeah. So, it is all about, it's a professional game. We keep saying it's not a game of darts down a pub. It's a professional sport with millions of pounds at stake. Every other sportsman, if they've got a problem, they would have a coach. They would have this, they would have that, they would seek advice. A lot of dart players are that stubborn and ignorant that they will not take advice. No. But they're the ones who are going to lose, because, the PDC and myself, we actually would help anyone. If it's going to make them improve their game, play better, we would help them. It doesn't matter who they are, because we want the game to grow. Yeah. People go, you wouldn't do it. Of course, why would we not want everybody playing brilliant? Yeah. It's better for the game. Yeah. But there are some ignorant, stubborn players around, I have to say.
That's it. And, of course, also this weekend, at the end of the European tour, because then we move on to the European Championship. And there's, one or two players missing out from that, by the look, some big names.
Yes, there is some big names that are missing. I think Phil Taylor in it? I can't remember, but looking at it, Adi Lewis, I think, Barney.
Yes, Barney. I mean, this is...
That's ridiculous. I just don't understand players missing out on European events where that's possibly going to be the next biggest growth in the game throughout Europe, certainly. They will grow, they will get bigger, there will be more money pumped into them. Why would you go and do exhibitions instead of playing in the European events, and then you lose your automatic qualification, so you've got to go through the qualifiers? Yeah. Why would you do that? That leads into a major tournament on mainstream TV.
Yes.
I mean, I just... Are the managers doing their jobs right, or are the players just not listening to the managers, or are the players just going, I'm going to take the easy money, as I've said, and do exhibitions? But they're the ones who are going to lose out. They really are. Perhaps I can understand Phil Taylor. I mean, Phil's been doing it for 30 years. Yeah. Perhaps being on the road so much. Perhaps he needs to slow down a bit. That's just ludicrous to me. I mean, even if I was playing darts now and I was still at the top, even at my age, I'd be playing all the tournaments, no exhibitions.
No, hey, what a great way to end, Rod. And tell you what, I think they would do a lot worse than listening to your advice. I just wish I had the ability, Rod. That's the only thing.
Well, if I had the ability, Paul, I'd be looking in the mirror and talking to myself.
Giving yourself a few.
Well, the problem is the bloke in the mirror probably wouldn't listen.
No, that's the trouble. I'll tell you what, Rod, that's great as always. Thank you very much, mate. And, well, if you don't mind, we'll look forward to catching up with you in the next week or so.
No problem at all, Paul. See you, mate.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Great to catch up with Rod Harrington there, telling us exactly how it is. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on Tunks and Tales. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Twitter. And join us next week on more Behind the Bar with Paul Starr, brought to you by William Hill, the proud sponsor of the World Darts Championship. We'll see you then.